Right, so it's the 8th of the 4th 2025 and we'll start from last night. So there's a few things shouted. Threats to bash my brains in, shouted from Sherborne Road. Threats to fucking knife me and saying that I'm a dangerous fucking rapist or stuff like that. And also threats to fucking gun me down or to kick my head in or to break every bone in my body. And dead was being shouted aggressively and other things. Right, not much else occurred apart from that, except for a couple of loud bites deliberately being timed to sexually excited, impulses in my penis shooting up, erections, or trying to go into the toilet with never a miss. Apart from one occasion, which is the time I went upstairs to get another alcoholic drink to socialise with my friend Peter in the garden. That was a good evening. Overnight, the burning sensation's been occurring because I've woken up really bad today. However, in the time period I was up, I didn't feel it occur until about 2:15 AM for several minutes, and then after that, basically I went to bed. When I woke up about 10:30 this morning, because Chrysalis Housing needed to check the temperature of the water, I noticed I woke up feeling really bad. Now at that time I don't recall feeling too much burning sensation, but overnight something's caused that burning sensation to make me feel really ill today. So I don't know what was going on in the hours when I was sleeping, but I feel as bad as what I did yesterday. I've got the runs again, so you got that. And obviously there's a few more loud bikes. I went back to sleep to catch up on some sleep. I just felt really bloody knackered for some reason, and I thought I'm not doing nothing important today, so I decided to have a lie-in for a change. I had a dream when I was asleep. I don't quite get what it means spiritually, but I'll give you the details of the dream. I was on a cliff next to a beach, and I was standing on a rock. So the rock collapsed while I was standing on it, and it landed smoothly without too much of an impact or splattering everywhere. And I was able to safely walk off that rock onto the beach. At the top, there were some kids and also my father. Now, they couldn't hear me, and I was struggling to scream out my mouth for help and someone to get rope. So obviously my dad went back into the house in the top, wherever that was, in the dream, and the kids weren't listening. And I thought the good news is the tide was going out before I woke up from the dream. And that's why I woke up. But before I woke up, let's go back a bit before I fell off the rock. Well, I didn't fall off it, did I really? Yeah, so I was speaking to a load of kids and possibly other people. I can't remember the dream that clearly, before the rock gave away for me to walk on the beach. And then obviously, as I was wondering what to do, because nobody could hear me and they all eventually disappeared, it was just me on my own on the beach, and that's where I woke up from the dream. Now, it's odd that the tide was going out, because in a situation where you get a dream like this, it's usually the tide coming in, you sort of worry, you know, and it's time to wake up, but it was actually going out. So it wasn't a bad dream, but it's definitely an interesting dream. And then obviously we got all these setups that have occurred going out. Right, so I got the sheets of paper of the problems going out, so let's get with today's issues, shall we? So there was a Somerset Waste partnership, white, yellow sectional, red, white, black and blue, Wayne's lorry. Willie shoots up, so bike on the path at me, but take into account there's other vehicles as well apart from that. This is just the basis of the setups that were occurring that I could write down quickly before getting to the next section to give a brief intro of what's been going on. After that, there's a red, white and blue and yellow, and then a blue car all over a drain cover, but time to go over the drain cover as I walk over a drain cover. Time to an erection, a bike only on the path. A Jurassic van with like a dead skull type of picture on the side of it. Catalytic converter pulls up on the path at me with the wind direction in my direction, which is a taxi for someone to be picked up, but you have to look at it in the term of a suggestion, even though that's the case. Obviously it's not done on purpose, it's the way this fixture's occurring. So a kid is possessed to say, "Dead, knife him dead," or "Dead Justin." Obviously this kid doesn't know me, this kid doesn't have a clue what he's saying, but something is cursing or causing the kid to say it. So, time to an erection on the next section means a bike from behind, then a bike angled timed to an erection. Wainwright lorry. Good enough van. Chic Baxter van, to apply sick bastard. And then you had the a lorry that looks very similar to the lorry that says "smash you to pieces" on the side of it, which is a rubble flatbed lorry. Someone says "being mugged, sick bloke." Time to an erection as I walk through the gate to go up the field means that they time a bike as I turn my head to look around. Fucking knife him, child molester, break his neck, said. And then obviously that person thinks I'm Saven, and saying that Saven's already had sex and stuff like that. Black sexual car, red, sick, white, grey, penis up sir, 9 times loud motorbike on the road below in my direction, before Seth van, CEF. Penis shoots up again, it's a motorbike, and then Babcock van. There's some gas control at the moment. So at the catalytic converter hot point there's a started Rivermead van, and the wind direction is blowing the catalytic converter stench in my direction. Right, the next thing is a crow has said being shot dead, and I've just phoned my mother up as well, and you know I mentioned this sexual sun curse or whatever. Well, she's had no sun at all whatsoever. It's been a cloudy, grey day. But where I've been, there's been blue skies and sunshine, which I'm assuming is circling me, because I have managed to get to a section of the graveyard to have a look over to the other side, at Barrack, and it does appear that they're deliberately causing that sexual curse to be on me. But the problem is, when they're sex cursing me, they're violating me because I'm never getting sex. And they're doing twisted things when it comes to that specific painting I keep mentioning. So, this painting, that is, if I'm gonna get to say that is, because the creator god's fucking buckled. Right, I've had to stop the recording because there's been a load of vehicles that have passed me. So this sexual painting, there's a sexy looking lady, or pretty looking lady as they'd use as a modern term, on with her legs behind the clouds on this specific painting. She's doing a sexual pose with her smile, but it's a straight smile, so it's like a sort of pose, rather than the modern pose that people do today, where they move their lip down to one side or give that dry and sarcastic suggestion. Yeah, so her legs are behind the clouds. And if they can give me a minute to fucking state the fucking setups, this is. There's too much fucking action going on. Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm gonna stop it, alright? Right, I'm gonna have to go. I'll have to mention it later. I just got to mention the setups. because there's too much governmental action or Creator God fallen with his fucking forces on me. So you've got a AIDS colour helicopter, like orange and red, orange and white, sorry. I didn't realise there was a boy racer next to me when I was trying to say that I can't do this. So obviously we've had a Bateman van, we've had a black and blue car, fucking sick, right? Just black and fucking blue, just come to fucking pieces, basically, sort of suggestion with the setups on the roundabout. So they're not making it very easy for me to state. So at the moment, 2 red grey. There's a lot of stuff I've not written down or been able to or will remember, but let's just go with what's happening at this minute in time. So I got to the other side, to the road where you can get 45 minutes an hour out of a called catalytic converters. So that's control. M and J. The Creator's fucking warped. Control. Because it smells of vinegar. Or rubbing the smell of 2 stainless steel knives against garden cress, but 50 to 100 times stronger. This is why it's got to be done. Because the Creator's fucking screwed up. A cruelty cunt, a sexual slaughter, fucking tearaway, a fucking ice-axing, staking bastard. You know, this is how the Creator God works. He'll get a sheet of ice or a sheet of glass and he'll smash it at polar speed through your fucking heart. And also that bastard will smash you through with an ice axe into the water below. That's how stone cold the Creator God is. There we are, as a catalytic converter again, Christ. It's called a catalytic converter, Christ. Catalytic converter. You buckled, cursing bastard. Also, the Creator God is fire-staking, raw, flaring, flaming bastard that will fucking burn you on the fucking fire grate and smash you hard with a fucking axe. The Creator God is just absolutely fucking insane. The Creator God is just a nasty bastard and a sexual slaughter fucking tearaway. So basically what happens is God wants you sexually abused as a child, where Jesus Christ is fucking the guts in and out of you, and you've got to sit there and enjoy being sexually abused as a child before stopping you get sex all your life while you're being ripped to pieces as a sick cunt or a child abuser or a woman beater later in life. And then obviously once you're too old to have any sex, God will fucking destroy you, kill you, hit you off, shoot you dead, or do whatever, cause organ failure, or dying of old age. And then straight after, what Jesus Christ would do is he'll make sure that you're born again, and then he'll sexually rape the guts in and out of me as a child in my next life, and it'll be the same scenario again, and then it's going to happen in every life. So I'll be living up to my name just in time. Serve fucking time, living up to your name time. The Creator God is absolutely fucking fatal, an evil bastard. This can be confirmed by the works of his creation. Why do underwater creatures shit and piss in the same water they eat and drink out of? Why do crocodiles eat the guts out of other animals, leading to extreme, agonising, painful death, excruciating pain? Why are animals strangulated and have certain body parts bitten off before dying of venom? And this is painful deaths. You know, this is evil. Why do we step on insects? If you think the Creator God's a nice person, you need to think again, because this is why my life has gone to fucking hell. You know, this is why I'm being ripped to pieces. Then you've got the risk of the Creator God putting you in hell after death, because obviously he can't be trusted. You know, that's how evil this bastard is. I must say something else. I've noticed that in recent times, when I'm trying to do these recordings, documenting the problems that are when I go out, is that the Creator God needs to organise and rig up these dangerous types of people, rough types of people, or sinister types of people in my direction, so that I'm shut my fucking face and I'm Mr. Zippy and I don't have a fucking say, while God can take the piss out of me and torture me or do whatever, like timing lookalikes to people who sexually abused me as a child, times my willy shooting up, and then timing a make love not war t-shirt followed by age is just a number, it's love that counts t-shirt, and over 50s too old but under 50s fine t-shirt after that. And you've got to take into account in 5 years time or just over, I will be that age. And then once those t-shirts become public, you're going to force me to go with a granny if I don't have anyone before that time for first ever sexual relationship, which I can't fancy. Christ, this is how fucking spiteful you are, God. You're really malice. You're an absolute cruelty bastard. A fucking sexual slaughter fucking terror part. I just want to mention that I'm getting dry skin and the enamel's coming off of my teeth. And the reason that's occurring is not just because of the alcohol, but it's because of the water. Because we've got hard water at our place. It's also causing me to have to buy cream all the time to put in private areas so that when I go walking I don't get sores occur. I've had to do that since I lived there near enough. The water wasn't great at my previous place either, but it's even worse here. And when I initially started drinking the water, I was feeling dizzy until I got used to it. Obviously I can put up with it a bit more now, but it does make you feel more dumb. It does make you more confused. However, when you mention the burning problem, you know, of whatever's causing the burning problem at my place, that's contributing to all this as well. So there's a combination of things. A combined selection of whatever it is. So when I was living at my old place, I was complaining about the water because I had to buy bottles of water. In the end, I just had to drink from the tap because it's too awkward to do it. So what happens is I reported it to Bristol Water or whoever it is, Wessex Water. I think it's like, they're both the same company anyway, they're just a different section. Basically, just a couple of days before they arrive, the water turns normal, turns clean and pure and like it should be. They do the test, and then the following day the water goes back to this fluoride and, you know, different bits of chlorine that they put in it to high levels, making the water unsafe again. And then when I reported it again, they did exactly the same again. There's a day or a 2-day period where the water was fresh again, and after they did all the checks, or, you know, to see how many parts per million of this shit that they put in there, you know. And then after that, the day after, we go back to troubled water again. So they know what they're doing. So we are here with our catalytic converter control. Right, something's just happened. I want to mention what it was. So you had some, I don't know if they're teenagers, they look a bit older than that, possibly in their 20s. So a couple of females walking past playing hip hop tracks. But it's what happened in one of the tracks that they were playing as they were passing me. So basically there was gunshots, and they're saying something or rather, I can't remember the exact wording now, I've forgotten, but it was to imply that if you listen to jungle music that's got the 1990s drum beat in it, which is known as the aim and break, then you've got to be shot dead. That's basically what the track was applying. So I'll leave it there on that bit. Right, so I managed to get past one house with a car reversing out. I get to the next house and there's a car reversing out. When I get to the third house, there's a car reversing out. All aligned and timed, neatly positioned as I walk past. Then a Cornwall glass van pulls up, remaining started in front of me as I pass that, and I'm being choked out by a catalytic converter there. I didn't quite complete what I wanted to say regarding the hip hop track, but I covered basically the basis of what it was suggesting. Right, so that's a black sexual car mixed with red tined, and now there's a blue car twisted my way. Hang on, just write this down a fucking minute. Right, so they're continuing with this. People are allowed to speak, obviously, but at times what happens is when people are talking, the spit flies from them into my face, or in my eye or lips, or on my lip, and on occasions if I've got my mouth open, yawning or whatever, I've had spit go in my mouth as well. Right, so we've had more cars. I've known it worse, a lot worse. Right, let me just write down the next lot so I can mention it on air in a minute. vans. So we've got a load of started cars at the moment. There's been 16 and Willie's been up on bike. And bike. And red. The last time I came down here, on this section, there was only actually 5 setups, and that was on that Saturday. The Saturday just gone. Right, so I've checked my balance in the Spar shop at the post office, and I'm not very happy. Yeah, it's a Bradford's lorry, hang on. Yeah, so it's under 300 quid. So, fuck knows what I've been spending on alcohol and fags, but I've got to come to a situation where I'm going to have to cut down on this and just buy cheap. Right, anyway, when I was at the shop door window, you had a motorbike tied to a stretch, then Somerset Waste Partnership, and as I walk out, black and blue, then I sneezed at, and there's a new t-shirt. I don't think I've seen this t-shirt before. Obviously the writing on the t-shirt is very negative, but obviously this is a way the Creator God wants to set this action up, unless the government are doing it, of course. And it says "Smash the Bastard" on the t-shirt. After that, you've got a bike, a grey van, spelled AGRII, a grey car, white "It's Politics" t-shirt. So it's like a political t-shirt, just says "It's Politics." I didn't really take much notice of the other stuff that was on there. Orange car my way, drains it over, and the Bradford's grab lorry where it takes you to where we are now, and started van initially, which is the Cornwall glass van again, and now we've got a Lerner Julia car. It's on that bit of road. There was another sneeze at me. There was a lady with a child. She sneezed, and she's like the unhygienic looking type. Then there was a car reversing out of the drive. As I passed the next house, same occurred there. And then a person gets in a van and starts the van just before I pass. There's a Sex Bomb t-shirt. Clean hard van timed on the road ahead. And then after that, you've got the Cornwall glass van again. So basically what they're doing is going back to a setup of 2005. Before 2005, I thought it was coincidence, but coincidence where God has turned against me. And then I start to realise, or wake up, thinking that it's being caused deliberately, in a controlled way, where it's being caused by an organisation. Or, if the Creator God is doing it, then the Creator God's mapped it out in a nice, sly, nasty way. So basically they're trying to apply that I should be with Michael Cornwall, who's an old school friend that I knew at Elmwood School before I left Elmwood School in 1993 or 1994, I think it's 94. I haven't really seen him since that time. So he made friendship on Facebook, he spoke to me on the phone, and that, but we don't really speak anymore. I'm not too bothered really. So they want to start doing that with the setups again. Well, they did this in 2005, in the earliest of setups, when I started to realise that it was being rigged up. Whether it's caused by the Creator, the government, the elite, I do not know, but when I started to realise that this force was being controlled rather than malicious coincidences, it was in the early days of that. But it didn't last very long, only for about a couple of months, 3 months maybe, and then it died out completely and it never occurred again. Right through until the lockdown, basically. But obviously, since the lockdown, all this force has been reconstructed and is much more nastier, much more malicious, and we're going back to old stuff that was occurring back in the early days, like 2005 to 2007, like the Wayne Langford business or the Michael Cornwall business. After 2007 area, that's when it moved on to the Stephanie suggestion. There's a short period of time where it went on about the Sadie suggestion, but later on, after about 2011, the setups were having some remorse in some ways. It's never been nice, but they were telling me that they've made a mistake when it comes to the Sadie business, which is true. They have made a mistake because I've never had sex with her. So after that, setup occurred back there. I managed to get onto this track. At the moment there's been no problems walking down this track. So obviously I'm down the track, and I've had 2 fags together this afternoon, because obviously I didn't have any this morning, and obviously it's not since last night, and even last night I had less than what I've had recently, because I've been smoking like 20, but then again I've been drinking a lot of vodka, but last night was the cutting down stages. So yeah, so a couple of minutes ago there was a child that walked past. This child looks nearly identical to what Izzy Simpson looks like, which is one of the celebrities that went on Britain's Got Talent back in 2016 area. The magician, the little girl. While she walked past, she gave me a bit of jit. She said, "I don't fucking like you, get out my way now." So the parents had to shout at her and tell her off for what she said to me. But I'm a little bit surprised, to be fair, because the parents that walk past me are rough looking, and it's usually the type that mistake me as Savannah or give me trouble. So the parents did actually apologise to me, which came to a bit of a shock, to be fair, when you consider it looks like it's the really rough type. But yeah, so that's what's just happened. I'm on that road where you can have 45 minutes or an hour without a vehicle. And I don't know how true that is, because it might just be coincidence that there wasn't any vehicles on the road going back at the time of last year, when I was sitting down the back track, you know, passing time or whatever, when I was waiting out because of the burning problem last year. Obviously this has worsened a lot now, and I just got to fucking put up with it and hope that I don't end up with organ failure or becoming really ill. One day it's going to happen. There's nothing I can do about it, because you know you got to stay there, because that's where your bed is, you know. Or it could just be that they really are rigging up the traffic only when I'm on that road. Anyway, so you had a bike timed initially as I come off the track, then you had 2 grey cars, and then you had a snap-on van. At the moment I'm on the dead end section, but there hasn't been any vehicles today on that section. Not in this direction anyway, at the moment that is. Right, so I've spoken to 4 people on the phone, and all of these 4 people have told me it's cloudy, starting with my mum. So I spoke to my mum, and she said it's cloudy, and then I spoke to these other people that's saying it's cloudy. So it does look like they're deliberately causing the blue skies and sunshine to be around me. But the problem is, I'm soaking wet and I'm sweating, and there's not a single cloud in the sky. There's a line of grey cloud in the far distance, but you're looking about 20 miles away in one direction. In all the other directions it's hard to see because I'm down in a dip, but to me it just looks like it's blue skies all around. So basically I'm being cursed with a sexual painting which is supposed to curse you with good sex and a sexy lady in her early 20s, if you want to look at it as the way the painting's cursed on me. But the problem is I'm being violated with that, and at the age of 44 it's going to be very difficult to find someone that's not a single mother, and also it's going to have to be someone slightly younger. It might not be that young, but you know, everybody stopped me getting sex, but there should be someone that's good enough that I can fancy if God's going to play war with me with this sexual sun curse. Right, the other thing that occurred, which happened when I came off of the dead end track, was there was actually a grey car. So if I was on that track another minute and a half, 2 minutes later, there would have been a grey car in my direction, then a grey car going the other way on the same track, on the same road, sorry, and on the road where you can have 45 minutes to an hour without any traffic, there would have been more vehicles, which is a no-how van and an advanced air van, followed by about 10 other cars which occurred, but at that stage I couldn't see what they were because I was on the track on the field, which is where I am at the moment. Well, I can currently see in the other direction now, so that's 2 directions I can see, and again you're looking at about 15 miles in that direction, and the sky is cut off into grey cloud, so it does look like they're doing it on purpose. I'm not sure what it's like in the other 2 directions, but it just seems like it's a bigger open gap of causing the sunshine to be down on me than usual, but it is grey cloud by the looks of it. So it does seem that what these people are saying on the phone is true, and that I am being cursed with the sun again. Right, so that's timed to an itchy bumhole. Right, so we've had a biting pencils van. Fucking hell, still traffic. Add 3 black to the end of this. Right, so we've had stopping me cross. Not every time the cars come into me to stop me crossing. There's already been a load of setups before that. Right, so this is a van I've not seen before. So it says biting pencils on the side of it, which is what people do when they're stressed out, or as a child, what they do at school. Or office workers, I've seen them do it as well. Anyway, Turner's lorry, followed by Somerset Waste Partnership, and then there's Laurie's Furniture van. But you've got to take into account what Laurie's suggests, don't you? The lady in Tesco's and that cursed sexual painting. And what happens after that? There's a Tesco van. But what happens after that? Somerset Waste Partnership again. Right, after that you've got 2 grey cars. Black grey. Then there's 4 white cars. And then basically what's just happened when I push record on the digital audio recording device with the 3 black cars that I just mentioned. Right, about 10 minutes ago I saw that person that wears a t-shirt that says, "It's your lucky night." Well, that's very unlikely with the setups that are occurring today. This is one of those t-shirts that occurred during the time period you had those sexual setups. But obviously when it comes to today and the setups that are occurring today, there's no good suggestions whatsoever. It's just a nasty day of malicious setups, or to tell me that I'm not getting sex. So I'm not quite sure why that's occurred. Maybe that one specific thing is coincidence. But anyway, I reached the end point, or the end point to where I can get at the moment, which is the track that leads to another road that eventually goes to West Coker. Now, last time I went down there was a big gate to say that the rest of the track is closed off because of construction work, and saying it's going to be closed for some time. It looks like they've changed their views on that. They've put a bigger sign up to say that this path is permanently closed, and that you've got to take the alternative routes if you want to go to West Coker or East Coker. But it doesn't throw me off too much, because there's not much further that I go before you reach the end point anyway, which is the longest walk I do on the Barrack Walk. So that's that. Just before I reached the end point, I want to mention that there was 2 people that passed me. They were both dog walkers. So one lady was aged about 25, and obviously I said alright, because it's the polite thing to do on a narrow path, and obviously it's very hot and sunny and I wasn't walking very fast. And basically she said, "Sad." After that, about a minute or so later, there's another lady. She's aged about 50, maybe 60. She said alright to me, so I said alright back, and she said the number 8, or late. There was no more setups really, to be honest, until I got back to where the main road is, which I just come off of about 5 minutes ago. Going back 2 weeks ago, there was some setups that were making positive sexual suggestions, or trying to get your hopes up with the setups, which I found rather rogue and dishonest, because these setups are never done to be nice. So I was pretty surprised and pretty shocked when that was occurring 2 weeks ago or so. Well, obviously they've gone back to their nasty setups again, because what's happened now is, firstly there was a sexual car timed, followed by a replacement van, and then a no chance van. So basically what they're saying there is there's no chance in living hell that you're going to get sex, which is completely different to what they were suggesting just over 2 weeks ago. Right, so I've had my 3rd fag of the day. I've just gone down to the dead end road because I was trying to document something and I messed it up, and obviously they timed a car, which means I had to be choked out by a catalytic converter. Anyway, if we go back before those people passed me, I was trying to document a piece of information regarding sexuality. So what I was saying in the digital audio recording device is basically people are moaning about my age, or saying you're a sicko if you don't go with a negative type, because obviously I'm 43, coming up 44 years of age. Well, I didn't expect this. This surprised me a little bit. A lady with a ponytail, aged about 27-ish to about 30. She's definitely not older than 30. And she has a rather unusual accent for today's types of people. Because people today's got usually that dry and sarcastic, negative accent. She's serious, but it's not the serious... It's more like a 1990s type of serious. Well, she heard what I was saying in the digital audio recording device, and this is what she said to me when she passed. She said, people are not bloody stupid when it comes to sex, matey. That shit what you're saying is in your fucking head, mate. So, she said basically that. I didn't expect there to be any horse people, or should I say people on horses, as you can hear. And they just said he's fucking sad. So I'm not very happy about it. Just as I was documenting the last bit of information. Right, so that horse rider is saying, well, she thinks I'm Savannah, she's saying I'm sad, and saying I should be with a middle-aged lady. What they've done is they've turned around and gone back the other way, as you can hear. You can just about make out the horse's footsteps. I'm going to have to keep this specific recording because I won't be able to do it again because I won't get the evidence of the horse steps. So, but what I'm saying is true, I'm not making it up. Right, I've got to leave the area because it's becoming busy, packed, and as I turn my head to look at the road where there can be 45 minutes to an hour without a vehicle, they tied a bike to an erection, an electrical van and a couple of other vehicles. But like I said, I've got to exit the area because it's becoming busy, as that's what the government or the creator God needs to do to cause shit. Right, so I've reached the road where there can be 45 minutes to an hour of any vehicles. I said alright to some people, and they said alright, perfect. So, yeah, you had that. And on the back of that car it says Amy on the registration plate. Right, so there's been 8 loud bikes tied to erections, anything from 7 times loud to 9 times loud. I just had to pop down that track. I didn't go too far down, and there's a load of horse crap that's down there. Yeah, so what happened was this road decided to get completely busy. Like I said, it can be 45 minutes to an hour without a single car, 20 or 30 cars, so I just decided to come off of it just for a minute. And at the moment we've got black and blue ahead on the roundabout ahead, which I'm going to be approaching in a couple of minutes or so. Right, so they're just fucking slamming every vehicle at me, black and blue, sexual, black, fucking sick, black sexual now. Second. Right, just before this, you had the girlfriend car, which I've not seen for a while actually, possibly a couple of years, I'm not sure. There's not one I see very often. Actually, I might have seen it in the time period when we had the sexual setups a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember whether it's the one that had girlfriend on the side of it, or whether it's just the pink sexual car with bunny rabbits on it. But this one had girlfriend written on the side of it. And after that you had the No Chance van. It's probably the same No Chance van I saw earlier actually. He's probably done some work somewhere or gone somewhere, and obviously been timed on this road up here, the roundabout. And then after that you've got the Making It Clear to You van, and then obviously the black sexual car that just came my way, but the other setups occurred before that, which I mentioned. So when I mentioned that black sexual car, that's the setup that occurred after that. If we go back just before I came back from my mother's on holiday, and all the previous times I've been to Barrack, and when I've walked this road in the past, this section of the road, the record breaking amount of number of cars for this specific area in both directions since last year when I first started doing these walks, which is roughly July 2024, the record breaking number of cars in one direction is roughly 10 cars or under. And then obviously just before the sexual suggested setups, just over a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, it could reach 20, possibly 30 or more than that in one direction at times. When we went through that sexual stage, or where things started to suggest they were a bit more positive, it started to calm down again, and obviously today we've gone back to 24 cars at the moment, with this one making it 25. Obviously nothing has happened in the last couple of minutes since I pushed record on the digital audio recording device, but on the other part, slightly further up, there's a whole load of them. Oh, they're really digging stay. Well, I made it to the graveyard, and I've got to come here tomorrow as well because I've got the appointment with the mental health team. It picked up again as soon as I stopped recording. You had a car that had a no sex sticker in the side of it, and you had the Forever van, which has a picture of a butterfly on it, which is like a bluish type colour butterfly. So it's not exactly a very clever setup, is it, when you've never had anyone? But that's what they want to fucking say to me, or God wants to say to me, depending on who's actually setting up this force against me in this controlled way. Right, so as I was documenting the last section earlier on, someone says, Wayne, in that accent. Right, I've gone back onto that road, to go back initially where I went to, just to get a couple of things. Sexual car, green sexual car, it's all over van, Somerset Waste Partnership. Earn a living van, Crow says sex, Justin, no one left. Someone gets a bit agitated, an oldish black chap, and says, put you in your fucking place, fella said. Been pretty much here at the roundabout. At the roundabout, whole load of black and blue cars. Had a gun-shaped looking 1940s black London cab type of vehicle. You had like a lorry that looks like it's made out of iron, this sort of lorries that they were driving around back in the 1980s, and I've not seen that for a while. More black and blue cars, a couple of dark red cars, a white car, allow bike time to an erection, and basically I make it to the other side where there's a started car in exactly the same place as earlier, but it's not the same car as earlier. Reach the road where there could be 45 minutes to an hour without a car at times. However, that's probably not the case. It's just the name I give that specific road because that's what's happened in the past when we go to November last year, and all the cars only appear to occur when I'm actually walking that specific part of the road. So I get my things, and then obviously I turn around to go back. Right, so at this stage, dog barks, you're dead, liver's gone. Then there's a Gemma Ferguson lookalike. No, allow bike to a stretch. Except she's aged about 70. So a very old lady. While back on that road where there can be 45 minutes to an hour without a car, there's a book on a car seat that I see as I pass. I only get a glimpse, so I don't know what the book title is or anything like that, but it's got a rather unusual picture of a smiling boy lying down, with basically he's showing his belly as he's laughing. I can't tell you much else about the book because I didn't see it properly, so he's lifting his top up basically. After that, there's a van with Zimmer frame pictures all over it, with a blue sky picture on the side of a van. Then you've got the laughing armchair van, which poses in a way as if it's very boastful, very pleased and very grateful, in the symbolical suggestion that the chair is designed in the way they've sort of drawn, well, the picture basically. Right, time to a stretch, daytime allowed bike. Maria Flowers van, Just For You van, which is just and then number 4 and then U van. Then around about 50 to 70 cars. I didn't bother stating them all because I'm getting a bit cheesed off of it. So it's just the usual stuff: black and blue, gun shape, sexual, knife shape, you name it, like that. But it's about 90%, so it's quite heavy and hard hitting for suggestion. Right, a quote says child molester dead, you are just. Then there's a Jack Jones jumper. A rough crowd my way. I didn't get much in the way of trouble, but it didn't feel very comfortable. A dog barks, Emma Justin, gone. Another bike issue. On that road which I came down, there was 9 cars, which is the equivalent to your average amount of a record-breaking number for last year and this year up until basically the start of March or something like that, or just before March, I can't remember now. Blue sexual car, and then finally there's a light blue car that follows that before I make it back to the graveyard. Right, so if I can get a fucking say that is because they're packing the fucking graveyard again. Right, so there's a hearse timed, black white car, Go Veg van, Wayne Wright, well, I can't remember his lorry, but Wayne Wright, sad cunt, Justin stabbing with HIV, poison said by rugby players and bogus because that started now. Right, so went down to the bin. Anyway, I'll give you the latest setups. Dog barks, knife down, dead. Bonus, a motorbike, screaming boy from Barrack Village, which is about half a mile away. Another bike issue. Beat up child rapist said in a match or something like that. Put you into gear, car, little Baxter van. And also there's been a photograph taken of me, so there's obviously it could be passed to other people to shoot me dead or kill me, because that's what the creator God needs to curse me with, or the government need to curse me with, or the elite need to curse me with. Right, the voice sounds have occurred, have been increased. Dog barks, knife dead, just Crow says child molester, ha ha ha. Crow says dying, ha ha ha. And says Jesus doesn't care, ha ha ha. Dog barks, pervert shot. Dog barks, no one left. Shot. Crow, shoot dead, dead. Bonus, loud bike 8 more times. Mostly 6 times loud. Crow says Rob says ha ha, robbers just. Right, so Crow says shot dead. Spastic. Boas was breaking his place said shot dead said. Sick cunt, gonna fucking knife him, raid him said. Crow says spastic, screwball, paedophile. Strange voice sounds by a bird, but failed to interpret a word because I was listening to what was being said. Dog barks, knife him dead. Sicko, dead Saven. Dead Saven said by rugby players. Saven is a name of someone who I'm mistaken for. And Had Wayne said. Right, so the next setup is bikes tied to erection. Catalytic converter stench. There's an ice cream van. I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to suggest there. If it is a setup, could be coincidence or a change. And the seagull says go to hell. Right, just after that, I was speaking to a family member on the phone, so I just want to give you some updates on some issues we were talking about, because I've never really mentioned the issues of when I stay at my dad's. Going back quite a few years ago, say 5 years or so, I used to sleep in the shed, and Dad would make it very nice in there. So he would have, you'd have, you know, like warm water that you'd fill a box up with, so you can wash it until it, you know, until the next morning. There'd be electricity hookup in the shed, and it'd be quite warm in there, and you know, and that sort of stuff. A nice cosy bed. But there was a few issues that I didn't really mention to Dad or whatever, because obviously it's not the right thing to do. And obviously that is the noise that was occurring outside, or the shouting, or sometimes threats. But back in that time period, it was when I was being mistaken as Saven. And there was also times where you could get gritty eyes from the same sort of eye problem that I had at my old place at Burnham-on-Sea. In fact, it is actually happening now at Yeovil at Thorn House, which has been going on for about a month, ever since I came back from the holiday of staying at my mum's. But anyway, let's get back to the story of staying at Dad's. So yeah, Dad did make it a really nice, you know, shed, you know, when I was staying there. but because there was a few issues, I stopped sort of going there or staying in the shed. As the years went by, I was allowed to sleep in the wash house. So on the visit of 2024, between February and April, I had like a fold-up mattress that was in the shed, and in the evenings I could come into the house, into the back area of the first little bit, and also next to there's a toilet as well, and there's also a washing, a sink. So when I was there for the 5 or 6 weeks going back to 2024, I was sleeping there basically, but I have to be up at 6:45 a.m. because obviously people need to access, the fridge, and obviously all that stuff, and then the kitchen doors open for the day then, and obviously people need to use the loo there and need to wash their hands and stuff like that. Obviously I've not been down there for a year, not to stay, but if I was to stay, I would have to go back into the shed, and I'll give you the reasons for that now, because obviously Mike, my dad, had to chuck out the fold-up mattress because obviously it's getting grubby, probably dirty, and it was getting, possibly mouldy because it's, I don't know, to be fair, but I think he told me that he had to chuck it out when I spoke to him on the phone several months ago, maybe a bit before Christmas. So that would be one thing that would have to take place. However, I can still come down on visits, day visits, even if I didn't stay. And obviously, so there's a separate fridge, by the way, so I got a fridge as well. I forgot about that, I forgot to mention that. So you've got the one with the lock on it, because obviously that's their fridge, and obviously just in case I get drunk or nick anything from their fridge, they've got to do that. Just only joking. But yeah, they got a lock on it, and I've got my own small fridge that's there, which also was in the shed initially, going back to when I was staying there back in 5 years ago or whatever. So that's another thing that was in there. So it's more like your own sort of house, really, sort of your miniature house. It's quite good, really. But anyway, there's not really much more to mention, I don't think, on that, so I'll leave it there. Another thing I forgot to mention is obviously if you stay at people's places, regardless if it's family, relatives or whatever, then obviously yes, you need to play by the restrictions, the rules, how you behave, how you treat others, how you respect the place, how you respect the area. You've got to consider all that when you stay at places or whatever, and I think that's a really good thing and an important thing to mention. Right, it's time to go back with the setups or what's happening. So if I remind you what happened just before I was speaking about the phone call I had, you had the bike issue, you had an ice cream van, and I think a bird or something said that you're going to hell or something like that. And obviously as I left after I'd done these recordings, the road seems to be quite busy for catalytic converters. You had a baby in a sling my way, and I think that's it at the moment, but I will keep you updated with any other things that are going to occur. Obviously I'm drinking in a minute. We've reached that time where I'm drinking vodka, but I've got to get to grips on it now. I've got to cut down on it, sorry, and then obviously after that I need to try and get back onto the beer, and I also need to cut down on the smoking. I mean, I've had 3 today, but you've got to take into account you're looking at 16 quid a packet or higher than that, a pack of 20 fags, and I don't have that sort of money anymore. So not since the holiday or whatever, I got robbed on one of these you call them prostitutes. So I paid so much, and if you want the full shag, you've got to pay another fucking 1,000 or so. It's like that. I don't have that sort of money. and I didn't have the money to do it while I was on holiday because my bank account was lower than that, so I got robbed. Just all it was is a lady rubbing her boobs against my chest, and that was it. She was about what age? About 35, something like that. Obviously the younger ones charge a lot more, so you're looking at about 300 quid, but if you want a full shag, you're probably looking at about 3 grand. And obviously there are some that will give you proper hardcore sex without a condom on, but you're looking at another grand or another 2 grand depending on who it is you shag, because they have to take the risk, you see. If you don't wear a condom, they have to take the risk, and that can cost you £1,000 or £2,000 more when it comes to prostitutes. Obviously going back before the lockdown, the prices were a bit different, but if you go back to say 20 years ago, when I wasn't looking or anything like that at prostitutes, you could get a woman for 60 quid, the whole lot. Maybe a bit higher if you wanted to have sex with without a condom on or whatever, but that'd be your average price. Maybe a couple of hundred if it's a very fit looking woman. But anyway, I'm not going to go on too much about that subject because it suppresses me, because obviously I've still not had sex in my whole life properly. But just thought I'd mention what they're like, or what the cost is today. About 30 minutes ago, just under, I was speaking to Pete, which is one of the neighbours. He phoned me up asking me if I was going to come to the garden, but obviously I was out, and at the time I spoke to him I was at Jack the Treacle Eater, which is where me and Dom tried camping just over a week ago, but I had to come back in the early hours because it started raining. But it was a really fun night actually, to be fair, and although I've had 2 shots of vodka, this is going to have to be cut down completely because my bank account is not very clever at the moment. I think I mentioned this earlier in the recording when I went to the post office to check it. So it's only like 300 quid, but that's got to cover everything. Bills, and bills ain't cheap these days. And obviously if I'm buying fucking 20 fags every day, costing 16 or 17 quid or whatever, I just can't do it anymore. So I've got to cut down on that. I'll probably end up going to Backy again at some point, so that's what I'll probably do. So yeah, in the early days of when I knew Peter, I was letting him down time and time and again. I wasn't fully, I was a friend, but it wasn't like a proper friend as such. But over time, you know, the things that we've done, you know, going uptown or going to the bar or whatever, or speaking in general, I got to know him a lot better, and I see him as a real good friend, you know, not just a neighbour friend, you know. And there's things that he's told me as well. He's tried helping me with different things that I mentioned, like mental health problems, because he's very knowledgeable and very intellectual when it comes to all these sorts of diagnoses, especially when it comes to sort of the illness of schizophrenia or paranoid schizophrenia. So yeah, what happened initially is I had my shots of vodka around the time that he phoned me up. I was going to go for a walk in the other direction, and I had a rethought. I thought, I haven't seen him today. I did promise him that I might be doing something today, but the problem is I didn't get up until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or just before 2 o'clock, and then it was really too late, to be fair. I was just absolutely knackered, but I did say that it would be a guarantee that I would see him in the evening. So I had my fag and drink, and obviously I was sort of walking slowly thinking what to do, and I thought, well, if I let him down, that's not going to look good, you know. I thought, you don't let friends down, you know, you do your best. If you've got nothing else to do, and you know you can go back and do what you need to do, you know, it's better to be talking to someone than being alone, walking about on your own, feeling down. It's always good to socialise, and obviously being a friend, I respect that, and that's what I'm doing now, so I'm walking back. I think one of the earliest times when I saw Peter as a true friend was when I was invited to go for a Christmas dinner to his mum's. That was the beginning stage, I reckon, and I had a hangover that day. But ever since that time, I started to pick up and I started to acknowledge Peter and listen to what he says a little bit more as well. So yeah, it's all good. I think that would have been like this, the starting stage of a true proper friend. Right, so welcome back. Drains hit over. Started catalytic converters. Mistaken as Cevennes, which is not my name. What else is there? Clean this up, some bad bicycle angled around up the side. Robbery said by rough people, a couple of rough people my way obviously. Yellow, sick colour car. Penis up some motorbike tire, loads of black and blue, sick white, whatever. Right, so there's been 12 cars up Southville, so not usually that many, but they don't always cross the road to get to Eastville to get to my place. That's what I said back in November, stacking the action as hard as they can pack it in my direction. Right, so the bike issues occurred about 25 times since I've been back. Yeah, so I phoned up Peter because obviously he's on the phone. I called 5 times, but that's just because I wanted to, I guess, draw his attention. But now he's contacted me on the phone. He says it's alright to call once or twice, so I'll bear that in mind in the future. But it's just in case he didn't get them, because I don't know if it, shows up, you see, that's a problem. So I sort of assuming that he might have been off the phone in a couple of minutes, I did that, sort of how long he's going to, because I actually thought he's phoning staff. But yeah, so I do apologise for that. It won't happen again either. It'll just be 1 or 2 calls, and then obviously he'll find out that I phoned him because he told me so, and then obviously he can call me back or whatever.